All right, I think we got them now. Hello, guys on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to our live. We already started on TikTok. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the comments where you're watching me from and if you can hear me well. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're just seeing me for the first time, I'm IFE, the marriage green card lawyer, and I help clients file their permanent residency green card in the USA when they are married to a US citizen or permanent resident. Hi, Ice. Thank you for joining today. Can everybody hear me good? All right, from Cincinnati, the Philippines. Yay, all over the world. Thank you guys for joining and watching today. Today's topic, if you guys were following me on Facebook or Instagram, you would have seen the topic for today. We're talking about I-864 green card. And if you weren't following me, if you didn't see it, follow me so you don't miss out when we're coming live again. We come live every Friday. I see someone from Fayetteville. Wow, thank you for joining. Moody from Michigan. Someone on Facebook. It doesn't show me your name, but thank you for joining, you guys. So if you're not already following me, just follow me so you can get notified when we're coming live. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on TikTok or Instagram. Hey guys. My cats are fighting, so ignore that. Fayetteville, Georgia. Okay, that's where it is. I was wondering where it was. It sounded like somewhere in Virginia. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining. And you filed your I-130 spousal visa. So definitely this is the live for you. During this live, we're going to be talking about a very important aspect of any marriage-based, family-based green card. So very important. From Ghana, thank you very much for joining. You guys are awesome. Make sure you share this live with your friends as well. For those people who weren't following me, I didn't know to come to join us today. So make sure you share with your friends so that we can all learn this information. Last week, we talked about a very important topic as well, which you can find on my YouTube page right now. We got a lot of questions, so I don't want to take more time so we can get into the questions today. Okay, ignore the cats. All right, so today we're talking about I-864 Affidavit of Support and 5 common mistakes. Like I just said, this is a very important document for your marriage-based green card, your family-based green card, because the petitioner, whoever filed your family-based green card, has to show that they earn enough income to support the immigrant. So the only way for the USCIS to find out how much income your petitioner actually earns is through the I-864 form, okay? So without this form, you won't be able to, your application could just get denied. It's that's important. If you don't submit this form, which actually happens quite a bit. Some people may think they need to submit it at a different time or maybe take it to their interview or something like that. And then they don't submit it with the package. They end up getting denied. So we're going to talk about all those mistakes that people make. Some of them are just innocent mistakes, right? And I'm going to explain to you, each and every one, how you can solve that particular issue. If you find yourself in that situation, or if you haven't yet filed, this is information before you actually file, so you can understand what the expectation is and how to go on from there, okay? All right, so every family-based immigration, whether it's your parent filing for you or your child, any application where you have to file an I-130, you're going to need an I-864, okay? I just told you the importance. So if you are unable to meet the criteria, maybe you're not able to fully support your non-citizen spouse or relative, there are alternatives. There are ways that you can solve this, but let's make sure that we're not making these mistakes to avoid further delays or denials in your application, okay? All right, I'm going to send this cats to jail right now because They're running all over the place and fighting. But anyway, we'll talk about them later. Let me know in the comments if you're a dog or a cat person. I used to be a person, but now I have two cats. So, cat lady over here. Many immigrants don't even like pets, so let us know that too. If you don't even like any pets at all, some people don't like cats. So, but anyway, one of the most common mistakes we see with your application that could definitely cause a denial instantly is not having the I-864 in your application. Okay, keep in mind that the I-864 is required for both an adjustment of status, which means your non-citizen spouse is in the USA, and a consular processing, which means your spouse is outside the USA. So either one, wherever you're located and filing a family-based petition for a green card, you're going to need this I-864, okay? So some people will submit the D-260 or submit their I-485 and not include this form. And that's just ground. They could definitely send you an RFE, but sometimes they could just deny you because it's incomplete. It's a requirement and it's not there. Okay. So in addition to relationship, which I always talk about, which is the main criteria, the very first thing that the USCIS considers when you're applying for a green card, is after relationship is your financial requirements. Okay. So if you don't have the I-864, if you're about to submit your application and you haven't included this is your reminder to do so. If you're confused on how to go about completing one, make sure that you reach out to me. My information is on the screen so you can get some tips and help to do that. All right. So that's the first mistake that we typically see on I-864s. The next thing that we see, and I'm actually helping a client right now, someone who came to me after they made the mistake, to fix this particular issue, is when you don't add the U.S. citizen petitioner, you only just add the household member's income, which is maybe the non-citizen's income, or a joint sponsor's income. So that's a huge mistake that can cause you to get an RFE or a denial. All right. Here, what typically happens is maybe the petitioner might be a student or something, like maybe it's a child, or even just a spouse, and you're not working, you haven't worked for the past 3 years, and then you don't really earn any income. So in that situation, they feel like, well, the best solution is just to find somebody else's income, which is a joint sponsor, and then, or maybe if the household member is working, maybe they have somebody else in the house working, either the non-citizen or whoever. Let's just use that income instead, because I haven't worked for 3 years and so on and so forth. See, but like I said, it's a mistake because the actual requirement for your green card is that your petitioner is able to sponsor you. And if they're not able to do so, then they can provide joint sponsors and any other additional income to help. So there's no exemption to that other than finding the joint sponsors. You can't eliminate yourself from the process. Does that make sense? And feel free to ask more questions to follow up with what I'm saying right now, because, what you need to see in this type of situation, if you're not earning any money, you provide your I-864 with your zero income, right, as the U.S. citizen, and then have a joint sponsor, which is another I-864, so that's 2. And then maybe a household member, which is an I-864A. So there are different forms for this stuff. You can't just submit one I-864 just with a random person's name and be like, oh, joint sponsor. Okay, you have to still prove that you don't have the income that you're saying you don't have by submitting an I-864. Okay? So don't make that mistake. If you're watching this video right now, you get it, right? Don't eliminate the petitioner's form. You still need to show your income. It still needs to be included in the package. And then if that income is not enough, which you already know, then you have the remedies along with it. Okay? All right. So now this one is a common mistake that we see, whether consular process, even sometimes in the US. For me, I work with clients all over the US, so we deal with our documents virtually. So it's very easy for someone to get confused as to how they need to sign a document. So if I send my clients a signature page, they understand that they print it out and sign it by hand and then scan that document. Because electronic signatures that you generate from like Adobe or wherever on one of these apps is not going to be okay for your I-864, any immigration form. Okay, since the pandemic, really they changed the policies to allow us to have photocopied hand or like wet signatures, just photocopies, not electronic signatures. Okay, so there's a difference. So for consular folks, the reason why I put this here is because essentially you live abroad and most of your application is usually online. The CEAC website is where you're going to complete the spousal visa application. Okay, so because of that, they tend to just try to do everything online. So you end up filling out the I-864 and just attach one signature to it and then submit it. That's going to get rejected immediately because anybody could have done that. That's the reason why they want you to print it out and sign it by hand in black ink. Okay, can't stress this enough. I mean, it's so interesting to me because I guess I use different colors of pens, but whenever I want to do something official, I always just automatically use black ink. But maybe that's just because I'm an immigration lawyer. So I end up having to tell my clients, make sure you use black ink, and we have to say it multiple times because a lot of people just don't use black ink. So if you're doing an immigration process, make sure you get you a bunch of black inks for your signatures because there's a bunch of forms that you're going to sign different things. Okay, don't get the one that leaks that's going to affect the rest of your pages. Just sign in black ink and then you can scan it and then use it electronically or virtually that way. Okay, make sense? All right. Let's see if we have any questions before I move on to the next 2 points. There's not much else we're going to talk about today, but essentially I want you guys to know the importance of the I-864 and know that if you're about to file, you should avoid these mistakes. Make sure you're including your petitioner, you're counting the household ties and signing in black ink. Okay? All right. Thank you, Noah. Thank you for watching and joining my live. And the Rosies, wow, so many likes and shares. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and start answering some questions because I want you guys to still, stay till the end and get answers to your questions. So let's start with Anisha or Anissa. Thank you for your question. Hi, I wanted to know that the USCIS sent me an RFE or affidavit of support, and I responded to it, but it's been 6 months since then. What should I do? Okay, Anissa, well, I think it just depends on the total amount of time you've been waiting for your entire package, because sometimes if they send the RFE pretty early on in the process and it's been 6 months, maybe you're still within processing time. Okay, it also depends on, well, it's for the affidavit of support. So, well, if they haven't denied your case, that means they're still processing it. I think just try to give them a call to make sure they actually received the RFE, within 6 months, and just to see the status of your case. That's what you'll do at this point in time. So no need to cry. I know it just seems like forever sometimes when you're waiting, but when you receive the benefit and you actually calculate the amount of times that you waited, USCIS actually does a good job of keeping to the time schedule that they set. Okay, sometimes when it's taking a long time, it might just be because of the pandemic or additional background checks or things that can be fixed but just need some wait time. Okay, so I hope that helps you. But I don't think there's anything wrong. I believe they're just still processing your green card. Okay. All right, next question from TikTok, Patience. Thank you for your question, Patience. What happens if you file an adjustment before 90 days of your entry on B2? Well, let me just acknowledge 11, 11, 11, 11. That's what I see right now. So, but anyway, if you filed before 90 days, is this a marriage-based adjustment of status, or what kind of adjustment of status? Because definitely need to, that 90-day wait time is so that there will be no assumption of fraud. If you're getting married to someone, I'm assuming, and within like 3 months, you're already married and you're already filing for a green card, but you came in on a visitor's visa, there's definitely going to be that assumption that you already made this plan. Like, how do you know this person? How did all of this happen so quickly? Right? So what happens is that you could potentially get denied for some sort of misrepresentation or marriage fraud. Okay, just make sure that's not the case and speak to an immigration lawyer so we can understand the full situation of what happened. Right? Right. Cabernet, such an interesting name. Hilton, thanks for your question from YouTube. I just want to know, I'm an immigrant who you have 2 U.S. citizen children. My joint sponsor is not married. I have no children. What should be the household size? Ooh, Cabernet, great question. I think one of the points I was going to talk about today was about household size and how to calculate household size. And because one of the mistakes is definitely not having the correct household size. And then the income is not going to be sufficient because you weren't able to calculate that correctly. So we'll talk about that some more. But Cabernet, you have 2 U.S. citizen children. Well, your children, if they are your dependents, they're going to be included in your I-864, even though they're U.S. citizens, okay? Because for the calculation of your household size, it's not only people who are getting a green card, getting the benefit. It's like literally your household size, like who is living in your house, who's your dependent, who do you care for more than half the time, like who do you file your taxes. So if your children are minors and you claim them, they'll be considered your household members for the purpose of the I-864. And then there's you, your joint sponsors, households, if he doesn't have any wife or children, so that's just one person. So I'm counting for just from this conversation, but this does not count as legal advice. So make sure you talk with a lawyer to know specifically your household size. But let's just assume, for the purpose of this question, that your household size is 4. I don't have my calculator up here right now, but I do have it to share with you guys. If you want a copy, just let us know in the comments. I-864 household size calculator. This information is on USCIS website as well. So I just got it from there to let you know, okay, if my family size is 4, it just goes like that. This is how much I need. If my family size is 2, this is how much I need. So you need to check that for a family size of 4. Make sure the total income, which is the sponsor's income and the sponsor's income. Oh, there's also a sponsor. I don't know who the sponsor is in this situation, because you just mentioned a joint sponsor. So maybe that's 5 people. So basically, that's how you're gonna know how much it is. So I don't have it right off the bat, like I said, so I can't tell you the exact amount right now, but that's how you calculate household size. Okay, very important for this I-864 because that's really one of the, I think it's on page 5. That page has haunted me several times, so that's what I remember. Page 5, you have to write down everybody yours. It's 4, because then on 5 you have to write down all the income you've earned for the past 3 years. So your sponsor and joint sponsor needs to know that information, like what have they earned the past 3 years. If they haven't filed taxes, fine, but they still have to say it was 0 and then why they didn't file. Okay, so there's no avoiding this form. That's what I'm trying to say. If you don't meet the requirements, you find a way to meet the requirements, but you're just not going to avoid it. Okay? All right. So I can take this question and then maybe go on to the next 2 points, and then so we can just go on and answer questions for the rest of the time. Okay, I really appreciate you guys for joining. And it's 11:11, 11:11. Okay, Google it and find out what that means and tell me in the chats. All right. From TikTok, confusion. I am confusion. What an interesting name. To think about that because, I might sound like an African mother, and I am, but you don't want to bring confusion into your life by naming yourself that. But anyway, I doesn't make enough money. Can I use my income instead of a joint sponsor? Great question from TikTok. Very good question because that's exactly what I was talking about in point 2, where I said household member or joint sponsor. Some people want to basically use their income, like you're saying, instead of a joint sponsor. And that's definitely allowed if you're on a current work visa, or your income is like a legal source of income. You can definitely use that as a household member, right? However, remember that your spouse, you still have to include an I-864 for your spouse, even though the spouse didn't earn enough, okay? So that's a great example of what number 2 mistake is about. So here, I'm confusion, wants to use his own income because he earns more or earns enough family to make it up. So he's going to be considered the household member, with the petitioner, who's the main sponsor, okay? All right, hope that clears that up for you. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Let's go over to the 4th mistake that I see in I-864 applications that just causes problems and delays and sometimes denials. So for the consular processing is when your spouse lives outside the USA. You're basically filing for the spousal visa, which is essentially a green card outside the USA. So one of the major issues that some petitioners face is there's no US domicile for the US citizen petitioner, okay? And what does US domicile mean? US domicile is essentially that you as a US citizen, you have ties to the US and you plan on living in the US permanently. Okay, sometimes the US has moved out of the US for either like a very long time or maybe just during the time when they're waiting for the spousal visa, and then they sell their property and just close their accounts and just like move out of the US. Okay, if that's you as a US citizen and you want to file for a green card for your spouse, you're going to have issues because the fact that you got rid of all your possessions just to move outside the USA shows that you don't really have the intent of living in the US. So it doesn't really make sense for you to be filing a green card for your spouse to live in the US. There's no domicile, okay? So this is very important because when you're submitting your I-864 for proof of income, if you don't have any pay stubs or tax returns or anything to show that connection to the US, that's definitely going to be an issue, a red flag. So you definitely need a joint sponsor, one, then you need to show that you have the intention of moving back to the US at some point, okay? Because like I said, if you think about it, it really doesn't make sense for you not to have any ties with a country and then you're filing a petition for your spouse to come to that same country to do what you get. So make sure you have US domicile. That's a big issue that people just overlook because they have lived outside the US for a long time and they're just like, but I'm a born US citizen. I mean, yes, you are. However, US domicile is required if you're going to actually file for a family member, to get that immigration benefit, okay? Okay, contact me to discuss this particular issue if it relates to you so we can discuss ways to actually prove US domicile. I mentioned some ways, which is your tax returns, pay stubs, bank account, showing that you have a place to live, you have a house, a property that you own, or the sort. Okay, that's definitely very important. All right. The last point or the last mistake I'm going to talk about here is whether the joint sponsor is qualified for to help you with their income. Because, like I've said throughout this whole live, is that one of the ways to cure insufficient income when the petitioner does not earn enough. One of the ways to make sure that they meet that requirement is to join somebody else's income. But sometimes the person that you chose, and I know it is difficult sometimes to find somebody to help you, to provide all their income. People just don't want to say too much about what they earn, talk about now sending it to the government, all that. They're like, I beg, I don't want to be involved, So, and it's understandable. However, if the person does not meet certain requirements, their income is not going to help you, even if they're such a nice friend, a nice person. They're like, oh, definitely, I can help you with anything you want. But if fraudulent income, for example, and fraudulent income, doesn't always necessarily mean that, especially for immigration, that it's something that's a crime in your state, maybe because you're earning the income, for example, the cannabis industry. And that's something that is very kind of tricky because it's allowed in some states, but on a federal level, such income will not be considered legal for income, period. So if your joint sponsor is in that type of industry, even though they're earning like thousands of dollars and they can really support, that income won't be enough. Okay? Or maybe the household size, they are married and have children, and so they have like 4 people, plus your family of 4 is now 8 people, and now you have to have income to support 8 people, and their income only supports like 4 people. So stuff like that. So you have to just be very careful. Person has a permanent resident. That's really one of the requirements for that. Okay, so check the person out, make sure they're a good candidate before you start the process. I mean, at the most, an RFE, because the income's not enough, you can find someone else. But like I said, mistakes like this do cause like delays with the process, because they just need to make sure that there's somebody who can support this non-citizen up until the time the person becomes a U.S. citizen. So affidavit of support is not a lifelong commitment. And in reality, I've not really seen a situation, at least not in my cases, where somebody, was, I don't know, on the hook for like debt or something because they signed an I-864. Because I think a lot of people are worried, I don't want to sign any I-864 because what if they'll come outside calling, or maybe the person has medical debt or whatever. You feel like they're gonna make you responsible for the debts. That's not really how it works, technically, but it is just a financial responsibility just on file. And hopefully within 3 years to 5 years, the non-citizen becomes a U.S. citizen and they've already started working. And at that point in time, you're no longer, the I-864 is done. So that's it for that one. I'm going to start answering more questions right now, but just know, like I said in the beginning, that I-864 is basically one of the most important documents in your whole package. Okay, if you're filing for any family-based immigration, you need an I-864. You can't escape it. Because it's just a requirement. So for employment-based, I don't think that's a requirement. But for this, you need to show 3 years of income. You've been paying your taxes and all of that, okay, with your family size and all that. So like I said, reach out in the comments if you do want a copy of the guide, or if you want some guidance on how to calculate your household size, we can help you with that. But yeah. That's it. So now I see a lot more questions coming in, and this is my favorite part because now it's time for us to just start, basically gisting about this stuff and breaking it down and getting some clarity. All right. All right. My YouTube is now turned off just because I believe some of the songs get copyrighted on my live. So, but generally, I like those chill Afrobeat vibes when we're doing this. We'll figure out a way around it very soon. But anyways, Facebook user, I can't see your name on here, but that's okay. Thank you for your question. Is Uber considered a legit income for a petitioner to sponsor 3 beneficiaries? 3 beneficiaries, wow. So that's a family of 4, which is the petitioner and the 3 people. I mean, if they're earning enough from Uber, I mean, and the person is the petitioner, so that means they are U.S. citizen or permanent resident, so they're working. It's like a 1099, right? So it's a legit job. So if you're earning enough from Uber for 4 people, at least, if that's the only amount of people in the whole process, that's fine. Illegal income issues really comes up when the source is either maybe you're not eligible to work, like if the non-citizen household member wants to join their income, but meanwhile working under the table somewhere and getting cash, you're not going to. I mean, that's not income that you're going to consider for that purpose. Okay. But if it's a legit, you file your taxes and all that, and you have work authorization, yeah, that's good. So hope that answers your question. Hope that helps. All right, next question. Jennifer here. Hi. My husband, U.S. citizen, is a stay-at-home dad, so no income. Okay. I thought I could just put down my income since that is enough, but I didn't know that he actually has to have income to file the affidavit of support. Good to know, but how can we figure out what to do? But now we have to figure out what to do. Okay, Jennifer, great question, and thank you for watching the live. So definitely what I was talking about on the second most common mistakes that we see is, not including the petitioner in the whole process, right? Because obviously you, the non-citizen, you earn more and you're supporting the application. So what I said is that if he doesn't have to have an income, he has to have an I-864 filed as well, okay? When the I-864 is filed, he can then indicate that he doesn't have an income and that he wasn't required to file taxes over the past 3 years. All right. I don't know what you have to talk to a tax specialist about that, but there must be an exemption. Maybe if you don't earn a certain amount of money, you're not required to file taxes. So he can just get that letter and show that, and then you go in as the household member, okay, not a joint sponsor because he's your husband. All right, that makes sense, Jennifer. So I'd like to see a follow-up question because that's exactly what I'm talking about here. Just assuming, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because why would you be reporting zero income? But for the purpose of immigration, they want that form to report that income so that they can, strike it out and say, okay, so I see, that he doesn't earn enough, then they will look for the next thing, which is going to be the household member's income or a joint sponsor's income or whatever, 1111, 1111. Thank you very much. All right. TikTok, KK Sweet. Thank you for your question. You submitted all the documents, including the medical at once, which is great. Your parent is adjusting status through child. How long does it take? Okay, so are you the parent, I'm assuming, or are you the child? I think it's about the same for all family-based immigration. You're looking at a maximum of 24 months, which is 2 years, as of right now. So that this timeline changes all the time. So if you already submitted the I-130, or I guess you say submitted everything at the same time. So that's better because once you submit all at the same time, that makes it a little bit quicker. But you can still wait for at least over 12 months. So that's what I can say about that. I hope that helps. All right, more questions? From TikTok, Bree's mommy. Thank you for watching. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. We got married after years of being together. or after a year of being together, how long does it take to file? Okay, so right now, if you're already married, you can file like right now. You didn't really have to wait for any amount of time. You can just file as soon as you're married. Okay, then you were dating for a whole year, so that generally shows that you have intent to build a relationship, because USCIS does look at the period before the marriage. They want to see how you met. So that's like literally one of their questions during the green card interview. So how'd you guys meet? Because especially if you came in on a tourist visa and all of a sudden you're married to somebody, how'd you guys meet? Like, how'd this even happen? Who proposed? Like, how'd this happen? So yeah, you've been dating for a year. Um, right now, I think you can file right away. So this is what I help clients do: file permanent residency green card, so that you don't have to deal with the complications. Leave that to me. Okay. So hit me up and let's do this. All right. Next question. Designer Bag Pro. You guys are your very interesting names from TikTok. I filed for my AOS last week. Can I get a job now while I wait for my work authorization? Um, you just filed last week. Have you even gotten your receipt notice? So if you get a job, the only thing that job can help you do is potentially get an expedited processing, but really that cannot happen until after your biometric. So I feel like you're going a little fast. So just give them a little time to get your receipt notice, get your biometrics, and then you can, if you have a job lined up, you can request for expedited processing. That's what they've been doing a lot of these days, helping people get their work authorization quickly. Sometimes they don't give you your travel permits because they just want to process just the work authorization and make it fast for you. So, with that being said, yeah, just give it a little bit. Don't work. If you start working unauthorized, that could be potential issues for you. Because now I'm not sure if your spouse is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. So you definitely don't want to put that complication on your case. So definitely wait it out. Okay? Designer Bag Pro. All right. Another question from Facebook. Can I change my supporter or sponsor if I get an RFE saying he's not eligible? Do you mean the joint sponsor or your actual spouse is not eligible? Because I mean, there are different layers to this. If your joint sponsor is not eligible, they most likely told you already in that RFE. So they tell you, but that's what an RFE is. They didn't just deny you saying, well, he's not eligible, so canceled. They said, hey, this person you submitted is not cool, so can you send us somebody else that's cool? That's essentially what they're saying. So you can definitely do that. If he's not eligible, then why is he not eligible? Is that something you didn't submit, like proof of his citizenship, or is the income an illegal source, or what? Like, they definitely told you what that is. If you need help replying to USCIS letters, that's also part of the services I offer. So make sure you give my office a call or text us. We'll help you get the solutions that you need to respond to the RFE and get your application moving. Okay? All right. Thank you for your question. Okay. Confusion. You can't find a co-sponsor. Can we use both our income? I believe I just answered your question about joining your spouse. Was that you or someone else? I'm not even sure. Well, essentially, you can use both your income, like I said, as long as the income is from a reliable source. Yeah? So that's it. It's tough to find a co-sponsor. I get that. So just make sure that the income is going to be accepted and it's cool. Okay? 1111, 1111. From Mercy on TikTok. Thanks for your question. What's the difference between I-130 interview and I-485 interview? Great question. because there's like two ways I can answer that. First of all, did you file them separately or together? Because generally, the I-130 interview is just to talk about the relationship, and the I-485 interview is to find out if the non-citizen is actually eligible for the green card, if there are any admissibility issues. Okay. Um, but generally they're done together. So I'm not really sure why you are having. Did you get two notices or what? Sometimes they might send you a notice for the I-130 interview, but if you file the I-485 as well, once you pass that, they just go on ahead to ask you questions about the I-485. Okay, and in doing that, they basically look at your form. A big part of the interview going over your form to confirm everything that you answered on the form, and if it's good, then you're good to go. Okay. So one is for relationship, one is for admissibility, which I think is the third most important thing when you are filing for a marriage-based green card. I've not made videos or series about this, but I'm going to. So make sure you subscribe and follow me. The three most important things for a marriage-based green card is number one, relationship, bona fide relationship. Number two is your financial affidavits, your financial affidavit of support that you meet the requirements, and then the final one is admissibility. Okay, am I admissible for a green card? Is there any misrepresentation, anything on my records that can definitely, that I need to address? Because if you're inadmissible, it doesn't mean that, well, just go home. It means you now have to know what you need to file, like as far as a 601 or what do you need to do from here? Okay. Anyways, make sure you follow me. I see a lot of you following on TikTok. Thank you very much. So you can know when I go live or post a video about these things. All right. Yes. Is the consulate in Nigeria backlogged? Treasurer, I think the short answer is yes, but I have not checked as of recently. Right now, most consulate offices are backlogged. I mean, including the USCIS in the US. But lately, there's been changes to try to help people move forward and updates about what's going on as far as like how many people are in line, what's still pending, and all that stuff. So I believe it's still backlogged, but this is the end of 2022. It's been 2 years since the pandemic, so I believe that things are looking up from here on out. Okay, hope that helps in any way. Carrie, thanks for your question. My tea is now cold, so I need to warm that up. Carrie, bless. How long does I-130 take? I-130, this is family-based green card. It takes 10 to 24 months. That's how long basically it'll take for you to, well, I guess it depends. Is your spouse outside the USA? That'll be the first thing I want to know. But I think altogether, if you're looking to do it separately, you can expect like maybe 10 months with the first one, except you're one of my clients who has been getting theirs pretty quickly. I'm not saying I'm the one approving it. I don't know what's going on, but I've had two I-130s approved like within 45 days and 5 months, and then they moved on to stage 2. But if your spouse is in the US, you can do both at the same time. So that's why I just combine them together, 24 months. Okay? All right. After your spouse gets his visa and he is here, a question. That's an interesting one. I think the short answer is no, because your spouse already had an interview at the consulate. So they had an interview and where they were asked about your relationship. Do I still have you guys connected? I've been getting some notice that I was losing connection. Let me know if you can still see me. So yeah, so the answer is no, essentially, because you already passed the relationship side of things. Your I-130 has been approved, and your spouse has been approved for the visa because there was no inadmissibility issues. You met the income requirements, and now the person is here. All you need to do is pay that 220 so they can get their actual card in the mail. And that's it. And now the person's a permanent resident. So that's why I call it essentially a spousal visa green card, because even though, okay, good, thank you. So, because even though the person is doing it from outside the state, it's just different because it's not an adjustment of status where they essentially are in the USA adjusting from one status to the other. They're just getting the green card because they were just not in the USA. They're outside the USA, right? So, yeah, I think that's how that will go for you. But let us know if you have more questions. Like I said, my number is on the screen. If you need help with any of the follow-ups or just need to clarify some things, you can always reach out for that. Okay. All right. Next question. I think we're getting to the end of the questions, and I think we're in good time here. Thank you guys again for joining. It's always great to get people participating, so we can definitely help more people on reaching out, and also for sharing the live. I see a lot of shares and roses on TikTok. Thank you. So we can get this word out to people. So another question. Thank you so much for answering. Before I contact you, here's my RFE. And I'm the one who asked about changing joint sponsor. Are you sending your RFE on the live chat? Yeah, so we definitely cannot look at the RFE on the live chat. So I don't know, this question seems really long. So we're just going to definitely take that outside of the live, okay? So can definitely over your RFE. In the future, if you want to join our live, if you want to come in on a live and ask your question, feel free to email us and contact us about that. We'll be happy to have you on here to explain, but we definitely cannot read your RFE on this live, so we can answer other questions and also for the interest of time. Okay. All right. I think all is for today anyway. Thank you guys so much. Mercy said you filed both the I-130 and I-45, but they scheduled you for the I-130 only. Mercy, are you the petitioner? Are you the U.S. citizen or permanent resident spouse? Yeah, because that will depend. But I believe that if you are the petitioner and you're still gonna have to go with your spouse, because let's definitely see that interview notice though, because on the interview notice they'll tell you who to bring and what to do. But for any marriage-based, family-based, you have to go with the beneficiary. So if you're the beneficiary, you're still having to go for the interview because it's about the relationship. After that, they typically just go ahead and do your I-485 since you did file. Okay, so that's how it'll go. All right. All right, one last question for today. After my spouse got his visa to the US with the kids, I miss them dearly, but I only have a visitor's visa. Can I go and marry him after 4 months in America? I don't understand. So if your spouse is a permanent resident, why can your spouse not file a spousal visa for you? Because you definitely cannot go on a visitor's visa and then marry him after 4 months. Plus, he's your spouse. I don't understand how you're going to remarry your spouse in the US. You're already married. So, if you're already married and he has, well, did he go to the US just on a visitor's visa or what? Because this is a vague question. Okay. Let's definitely reach out. Let's talk about that because this sounds like something is not adding up here. Okay. All right. So yeah, definitely book a call. Let's talk. Let me see. I think I said one last question here. If you're already married to a U.S. citizen and came to U.S. on a tourist visa, do you have to wait 3 months to adjust your status? Yes, because the tourist visa, like I said, guys, I keep saying this on all my TikToks, and I'll keep saying it, is not for getting married. If you're coming into USA on a tourist visa and you're getting married before 90 days, you stand a chance of getting denied because there's an assumption of fraud, okay? Even if you're already married to the person. So why did the person not file a spousal visa for you? So say you already qualify for that. So why are you coming in on a tourist visa to do that? Yeah. If you want it to be quicker, there's the K3 visa. There are several options for you to try to come in on a B1, B2, which is not for getting married. It's for tourists to come and visit and look at nice things, go to Disney or whatever, and then go back. Right? There are exceptions, right? That's why a lot of people are still able to adjust their status. But if you're coming in with the intent of actually doing that, you're already misrepresenting, and that's already issues right there. Okay? All right. Thank you guys very much. Don't forget to book a call with me. If you're watching this outside of the live, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when we're going live. I saw a lot of you responding on Facebook to joining today. Thank you very much. And once you see this, make sure you share it with your friends so that other immigrants like you can know about this session, and then we can come here and get answers. Okay, as you can see, most of the questions are similar. We're all going through the same things, and I've seen similar things with my clients, so I can give you some insights on how I help them and hopefully help you too, so you don't have to deal with the complications on your own. Okay. All right. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, you guys, and stay warm. It's getting colder. If you're in the USA, you already know it's getting colder. Here it's a little gloomy. I don't know if that's affecting the lighting on my videos, but I'll check later. But yeah, it's a little gloomy today, and we're just gonna be indoors from the rain. So stay safe this weekend. Have a great day, and remember to have fun. Put yourself first. Make sure you're following your dreams. Don't allow anyone to stop you from doing that. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.